is a professor and gender diversity advocate, helping us better understand gender identity, here with her second edition of Gender Your Guide, with tools on what to know, what to say, and what to do while navigating gender in everyday life. Please welcome to the show, Lee Airton. Hello. Lee, it is such an absolute pleasure to meet you.
It's a real pleasure for me, too.
Oh, my gosh. Came all the way from Kingston. I am absolutely thrilled.
Such a long way.
Yeah. All right, now, the first edition of Gender Your Guide came out in 2018. Now, what was the catalyst behind this book?
Well, in 2018, it was a very different time, right? Gender diversity was a very new topic for a lot of people. I think most people in Canada would say they hadn't met a trans person. So the conversation then was very different. It was very sort of, wow, we have these new human rights protections. It was very practical. Like, what do I say if I don't know someone's pronouns? Or like, what am I supposed to do in this situation? And I really wanted to honor the goodwill of those practical questions.
Yeah.
So I offered a lot of advice. And it was also a time when people weren't as interested in the politics of it.
Yeah.
It was a much less polarizing time. So that honoring that practical sort of goodwill impulse is why I wanted to write it back then.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Well, it's now the second edition, and this book it's dedicated to your dad.
Yeah.
And I know your dad passed away back in 2022.
Yeah, he did.
There was a really, really beautiful story in here about your dad, about a song that he used to sing to you.
Yes.
Can you tell us that story? Because I think it's such a beautiful example of someone.
It's also a beautiful example of my dad, who thought he was very funny.
Yeah.
Nobody laughed more at my dad's jokes than him.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
When we were kids and we would come down in the morning looking like the morning was offending us in some way, you notice like we crawled out of a cave. Yeah. My dad would like to sing the Miss America theme song.
Yes.
Right? You know, there she is, Miss America, right? And so he would do that and laugh, right? And we would not laugh because we're teens. But when I came out as non-binary, my dad didn't want to let it go, so we actually adapted the song.
Yeah.
And so as a fully fledged adult, I would wake up in the morning when I visited, and he would sing, there they are, person America.
That is so kind.
You know?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, continuing to laugh as well.
Of course.
Of course.
Never more laughter from anybody about his own jokes.
Yeah, honestly, I love someone who laughs at their own jokes. I am also one of those.
I do that too. Yeah, I have that.
Yeah, it's a knee jerk for sure.
Yeah.
In the book, you also talk about four examples of things that your dad did in particular when you did come out to him. Can you talk us through those things that he did that really kind of helped make you feel like he understood, if not understood, but accepted?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, if not understood is the way to talk about it, because my dad loved me and my siblings more than anything in the world, and we never doubted for that. And he was my main booster. Like, he was so proud of the book, and he was so proud it was in the world. People still tell me how he would stop them for like an uncomfortably long time, like in the grocery store, and like tell them about it. Yeah. But I have to say, if there was a final exam about the book, he would have failed it. Yeah. Like, I don't think my dad could have told you why I, as a non-binary person, am not a transgender man. I don't think my dad could have said, like, this is gender identity and this is gender expression. But you know what? It didn't matter. Yeah. Because he knew that calling me woman, girl, or female did not work for me. Yeah. And so he didn't do it. Yeah. He knew that my pronouns were they, them, and those were the pronouns that made me feel the most comfortable, so he used them. Yeah. Imagine that. Yeah. Right? To the best of his ability. And he didn't always do it, like, all the time right, but when he did make a mistake, he caught himself, which is, like, the second best, most beautiful thing to getting it right the first time. Yeah. And I think for this time, especially when things are becoming more polarizing, that idea of I can show up for people I love and people around me, even if I don't have all the answers. Yeah. Like, I think that's a message we need more than ever.
I agree. I agree completely. And like you said, things are getting more and more polarized. Yeah. In the States, there's places where transgender people are not safe, or non-binary people are not safe. And in Canada, there's provinces where trans kids are not allowed to be who they are. So is that something that you address in this new edition of the book? Yeah,
very much so. Because a book like this that is giving people advice about gender and like what to do to be gender friendly has to be speaking to the moment. Yeah. Right. So the first edition had a tone of, wow, we have these human rights protections in Canada, all this good stuff is happening in the States. Where is this going to go now that trans people can, for the first time, with legal protections, show up in our workplace exactly as we are? Yeah. How is this going to go? And so that tone has shifted a bit in this book to be more realistic, only because that hasn't gone in all ways like we'd like to see, with the backlash in the States and emerging backlash here in Canada. So in the book now, I still talk about relational ways, like how to have hard conversations and how to have compassion and patience and kindness in those conversations with people. But I also talk about how you get ready for that really important meeting when you have to advocate for your human rights in your workplace or at school. So that balance of realism and compassion is more pronounced in this book because of the time we're in now. So I hope people find it very useful.
It is an incredibly useful and important book. It is really amazing. Thank you so much for writing this book.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to Lee. Audience, you're all going home with a copy of Gender Your Guide, the second edition. Thank you so much. That is our show for today. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time for more of the good stuff. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.